back to my Mental Health and Crime channel. My name is Huda London. I hope everyone's having a lovely Thursday. I'm wishing everyone well. This is the case of the Idaho quadruple murders. May the 4 victims rest in peace. May justice be served. Condolence to their families. This is for entertainment purpose only. I like to start by trying to figure out the timelines of the couple, Xana and Ethan. What happened to the couple between 9:45 to 1:45 is unknown. The police said that they were at the Sigma Chi fraternity party between 8 to 9. That doesn't make sense either. Let's do some maths here. 8 to 9 if they were in the party. Why is the police asking for 9:45? What happened to the 45 minutes too? They allegedly came home at 1:45. We don't have anyone who can confirm that. There's certain things that I do not talk in my channel and I do not pay attention to. One of the examples are when people talk about Steve Congalvis or Congavs, Kaylee, his father. I think people need to be more mindful, respectful to the 4 victims, his parents and families. They're grieving, they're suffering. As a mental health counselor, I know what they're going through. I wouldn't know exactly what they're going through because luckily I haven't lost a child of mine or a nephew or niece or any of my clients who are children in a horrific manner. But I can imagine what they're going through, and I've noticed many YouTube creators are too focused on how Steve behaves. This ain't our children. How the parents act and react, they're entitled to. These are their children and not our children. You would never know, and I would never know what it is like until we are put in that position. I believe that Steve Congavs is a hero, an excellent father. I'm sure his children are proud of him. They should be proud of him. And you can see the bond, the affection between him and Kaylee and Maddie. Steve has been a soldier. He's been a hero. He represents all the 4 students, all the 4 victims. Some creators are too obsessed with Steve, his brother Nathan, and the others are busy passing judgment about Steve if he's tampering the case or not. Y'all are not the lawyers, and y'all are especially not his lawyer. His lawyer would advise him when he's gone too far. He has right to get all the answers. He has the right to demand all the answers because this is his daughter. Let's respect that instead of sitting and analyzing on things that are not so important. Things that are important is what happened to these 4 students and why. What was the motive? Who did it? Let's stick to the facts of the case. Even if we are speculating, let us do it in a mindful way. The parents are watching us, they're grieving, and they don't need this nonsense. There's so many other things that we can talk about instead of speculating things that are not important. Steve isn't part of the timeline. Steve is in the university. He wasn't running the university. He expected his daughter and the other 4 students, the other 4 victims, to be safe under the university campus. There was a lot that could have been done to prevent this horrific situation. by the university itself. The police have been in these houses, not only in 1122 King Road, in many other houses because of the partying. The parties were going on for many hours, many days of the week. They could have put an end to it. We've heard some footages from Linda Lane, which I honestly do not speak about it in my channel, because from the second I saw it, I believe that there could be some truth in it, but mostly you can see those are tampered, edited recordings, which I have nothing and no interest in putting in my channel. But what I found interesting about the Linda Lane footage is that some part of it could be true. If it's true, what we hear about Ethan and Xana and all the yelling, that could be really possible. Because what happened to these two victims is crucial. Why was the Sigma Chi fraternity under the microscope? Being under the microscope means you're under investigation, allegedly. That's the way I see it. The Sigma Chi fraternity said they don't have cameras, so they can't see who's going in and out. Where were those 5 figures running from? And where were they running to? Most likely to the Sigma Chi.
Nodal and Ethan Chapin for nearly 5 hours the night that they and 2 others were brutally stabbed to death. That is a question that police in Moscow, Idaho are asking themselves and the public. And the answer to that question may help them catch the person responsible for this quadruple homicide. Xana and Ethan, who were boyfriend and girlfriend, attended a party together hours before they were to be murdered on November 13th at Ethan's fraternity Sigma Chi. They were seen at this Sigma Chi house around 8 or 9 o'clock at night, but police believe they got home about 1:45 a.m., so that's a large chunk of time. Now, the murders are thought to have taken place between 3 or 4 a.m. What's really strange here is not a single person who attended this big frat party reported seeing the couple after 9 p.m. They didn't pop up in any social media videos or photos or any surveillance videos. It's also important to note that this house doesn't have any security cameras outside. So far, authorities have gotten more than 5,000 tips about this case, and over 1,000 photos and images have been sent to the FBI. But there's nothing in them so far to indicate where these two were for almost 5 hours. What time did they actually leave the Sigma Chi house? Where did they go after? What route did they take? Did they walk? Did they get a ride? Did they take an Uber? The answers to all of these questions could uncover a crucial piece of evidence that could help in solving this case. There's some speculation that Xana and Ethan simply went back to the house early to take advantage of the fact that none of the other roommates were there, so they had it to themselves. Xana's mom thinks they may have gone to a bar, but there isn't any current evidence to support that theory, so I'm not sure where she's getting it. At any rate, the cops want the public's help. If you know where they were, if you've got photos with them in the background, please submit a tip to Moscow PD.
We need to keep in mind that the 4 victims were not together that night. So this could be 2 separate targets. The Sigma Chi boys know exactly what happened to this couple, allegedly, because they were at the Sigma Chi. Why doesn't the Sigma Chi boys talk and come up front? Don't they owe that to Ethan and Xana? Let's go back to the 4chan post, because I believe that is crucial in this case. Apparently that night, of the murders, E and Lott got into a fight at SX, and E said Lott had shrivel, PLLS, trigger warning, from steroids. X was talking shit too. Lott has long-standing beef with E, and apparently M too, that's Maddie. Barry and Lott are butt buddies who talked about murder fantasies before. Also something about Barry being E is suitor, that's Eaton, and not doing well with it. So, shrivel balls comment trigger the roid rage in Loach and his little twink sidekick carried out their long-standing fantasy together. This is at least what I gathered from the fraternity. Number 1. Person doing the wet work and up to 3 people on the lookout. Isn't that strange? Didn't we see 4 figures running? Frat beef and jealousy and Xana perhaps. The one guy, Barry, his parents own a professional cleaning service. Is that how the cleanup happened? Allegedly? The poster claims to even know where the knife is. Wow. It all checks out so far. Barry seems to be quite the incel. And people say that Brian Koberger is an incel. No one's guilty until proven guilty. It all checks out so far. Barry seems to be quite the incel. He's only in the frat to boost the GPA. He was also Eaton's tutor. Between the people with law enforcement and the people in the background of the body cam footage, that is about half a dozen people. Those are the figures running. The importance is they may have witnessed something unbeknownst to them. They've either witnessed or they were allegedly in the crime itself. The body cam is stamped 3:12 a.m. Police have previously maintained that they believe the murders took place between 3 and 4 in the morning, just like always believed. And if the murders, trigger warning, was between 3 to 4 that morning, that would prove that BK wasn't even there. BK was spotted driving the first time at 3:25, but he did not get off his car. Allegedly, he came back at 4:05. So that discludes him. Let's continue. Idaho murders, convicted killer arrested a mile from the university stabbing. According to law enforcement. When timelines change, everything else changes. Pay attention to that. We have the 4chan posters here. The first one says, I have it on good authority. Cousin is a cop in a nearby town, but called in to help in Moscow once school started back up. Apparently, the investigation is looking directly, I repeat, directly at the Sigma Chi frat party Eaton and Xana attended from 8 to 9 that night. So they say, I have it in good authority. Cousin is a cop in a nearby town, but called in to help in Moscow once school started back up. Apparently, the investigation is looking directly in the Sigma Chi frat party Eaton and Xana attended from 8 to 9 that night. So after all, the Sigma Chi boys allegedly aren't such good boys according to Walt's obsession. He did not have any update on the timeline after they left. That's between 9 to 1:45. But did say it looks like the investigation is horning into the 2 suspects. Into the 2 suspects from the frat that night, and an update should publicly name them by the end of the week. That didn't happen. They went to caught Brian Koberger instead. Nobody knows if Brian Koberger is involved, if he participated in this, or if he's totally innocent. So let's find out. Sigma has made their social private and removed all info from Facebook going back a few years. And I checked that. They went back to 2018. Made it all private. What is the frats up to? They believe Eaton and Xana were the main targets, stemming from an argument that night. You hear that? That is clearly a motive, allegedly, if this is true. This post is the one that makes most sense for me in this whole quadruple murders. They believe Eaton and Xana were the main targets stemming from an argument that night. Oh, the argument was about David and his steroids, allegedly. Now that the world knows David, is that what you are hiding? Allegedly, what happened to the couple? Downstairs, survivors could hear two males rummaging through the room above them. Figured it was an after party. They locked the doors and went to bed. When they discovered them in the morning, about 30 minutes before the 911 call, they called their friends at Sigma to come over, who in turn called the police. It's right across the street, and for whatever reason, they believed it was people from the Sigma upstairs around 2:15 that night. Let me repeat this. This person is saying that downstairs, survivors could hear two males rummaging through the room above them. Figured it was an after party. Makes sense. Because guys, do you all remember what we heard that DM said? She opened her door and she said, "Keep it quiet. Keep it down. I'm trying to sleep." Those are the two guys running. Allegedly. So downstairs, survivors called. They heard two males rummaging through the room above them. Figured it was an after party, locked the doors and went to bed. So that's a crime itself. If they heard that, and we've heard that in Banfield, Ashley told us about that on the news channel, that Dylan thought it was a party upstairs and she said to keep it quiet. But let's not forget, DM heard and saw things. So she knew what was going on, allegedly. Back door was left open, one dead in bed, the other blocking the room's door with their body. And then we have also Obsession telling us that Eaton was found in the bed. Eaton was blocking the door clearly. We've heard that many times. Police just updated. FBI is reiterating they are not looking into the activities that night. Shouldn't they be looking into all the activities that night? Only the murders. How can you solve a murder if you don't look into the activities? That's new for me. Strange. Which to me suggests something went on. Definitely. Why aren't the FBI and the detectives looking into all the activities that night? Why aren't they looking into all the timelines that night? Why aren't they looking into all the suspicious behavior that night? Everyone was ruled out quickly. Back door was left open. One dead in bed, the other blocking the room with their body. Police just updated that FBI to reiterate they are not looking into activities that night, only the murders, which to me suggests something went on. Sorry guys, I don't have my glasses on. Police just, okay, read that, also didn't want to release profile they created as it would cause undue fear in the community. Greek life. So the suspect allegedly was from Greek life. Then it says, locks to be the case, never relax around rotted Upper Wigger Zumri. So Dirty South Lodge did it, and Rogalin Jack was in it on it. And you can read the words, I don't want to say that, Tittis was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Madison was in bed. Yes, except Rogan Jack was not in on it. It was Schizo, C.N.T. Barry, and Dirty South Lodge. That's interesting, because I was actually thinking about it while I was researching.